You know, after 43 years on this bench, I've seen family theft take many forms. The quiet borrowing that turns permanent, the desperate grab during hard times, the entitled swipe when someone thinks, it's just grandma, she won't notice. But on that crisp November morning in Denver, a 17-year-old granddaughter sat before me accused of stealing her 89-year-old grandmother's entire jewelry collection, heirlooms passed down 4 generations, worth over $85,000 in sentimental and market value, and pawned most of it to fund a secret online shopping addiction. What started as a small claims recovery case exploded into something far uglier when the girl's own words, under cross-examination, unraveled her carefully rehearsed story and left her sobbing uncontrollably on the stand while her grandmother watched with quiet, heartbroken dignity. This wasn't simply about jewelry, this was about trust shattered between the woman who raised her daughter and then helped raise her granddaughter and the teenager who chose instant gratification over the one person who had never once let her down. The brutal truth that came out in those minutes didn't just decide who got the remaining pieces back. It forced a family to confront how far betrayal can go before love decides whether it can ever forgive. Before I take you through every crushing exchange of that hearing, hit that subscribe button right now. Seriously, click it, because stories like this show how fragile family bonds really are and how truth can hurt as much as it heals. Drop a comment telling me, have you ever had something irreplaceable stolen by someone you loved? You're going to feel this one deeply. I've been a district court judge in Denver County, Colorado since 1982. That's 43 years of hearing cases that range from petty theft to profound heartbreak. Every morning I arrive at 7 make my tea, English breakfast, 1 sugar, the way my mother drank it while sewing late into the night to keep us afloat, and review the files while the building is still quiet. My clerk, Rebecca, who's been with me for 23 years, can tell from the way I set my cup down whether a case is going to leave a mark. That November morning, she placed the folder in front of me and said softly, "Judge, it's grandmother versus granddaughter, theft of jewelry. The grandmother is 89 and pro C. The girl is 17, represented by her mother's attorney. And the grandmother," she brought the empty jewelry box with her. The file was heartbreakingly simple. Plaintiff, Rose Delaney, 89, widow, retired librarian. Defendant, Sophia Martinez, 17, high school senior. Claim, civil theft and conversion of antique jewelry valued at $85,400, appraised for insurance 2 years earlier. Rose alleged Sophia had taken the collection from her bedroom dresser over several months, pawned most pieces at 3 different shops, and spent the cash on designer clothes, makeup, and social media flex purchases. Sophia's defense, "I borrowed it with permission and planned to return everything. No police report. Rose refused to press criminal charges because she's still my blood." The courtroom was small but packed. Rose's friends from the senior center, Sophia's mother, Rose's daughter-in-law, a few classmates, the pawn shop owners subpoenaed to testify. At 9:35, Rebecca called it Delaney Veers Martinez, case 25 SC 6741, civil theft and conversion. Rose entered first, tiny silver hair in a perfect bun, floral dress pressed immaculately, carrying an old wooden jewelry box with the lid open to show velvet trays now empty except for 3 pieces too damaged to pawn. She walked to the plaintiff's table with a cane, set the box down gently like it was made of glass, and looked at me with eyes that had seen too much already. Sophia came in next. Hoodie, ripped jeans, hair in a high ponytail, eyes down, chewing her lip. Her attorney, a young public defender assigned because the family couldn't afford private counsel, stood beside her looking uncomfortable. I began carefully. "Ms. Delaney, you're seeking return of the jewelry or its value, plus statutory treble damages under Colorado civil theft law. Tell the court what happened." Rose's voice was soft, steady, almost grandmotherly. "Your Honor, these pieces belong to my mother, who got them from her mother, a sapphire ring from my engagement, a pearl necklace Harold gave me on our 25th anniversary, gold bracelets from when Sophia was born. I engraved her name and birth date on one. Over 8 months, they started disappearing. I thought I was misplacing them. Old age, you know. Then I found pawn tickets in Sophia's backpack when I was doing her laundry. I confronted her. She cried, said she'd get them back. She didn't. Most are gone forever. I just want what's left and for her to understand what she took." Sophia stared at the floor. Her attorney spoke up. "Your Honor, my client admits taking the items, but claims it was with verbal permission. Grandma Rose often let her borrow jewelry for school events, photos, TikTok videos. There was no intent to permanently deprive. She intended to repurchase or return everything once she saved from her part-time job." Rose looked at her granddaughter for the first time. You never asked, Sophia. Not once. You took the box when I was at doctor appointments. You knew I kept it in the top drawer because my hands shake too much to wear most of it anymore. I turned to Sophia. Miss Martinez, you're 17, old enough to understand right from wrong. Did you have permission to take these items out of the house? She mumbled. Kinda. She said I could borrow stuff sometimes. Rose shook her head slowly. I said you could try on pieces for prom pictures, not take the whole box, not pawn my wedding ring. I called the first pawn shop owner. He testified Sophia brought in items over 4 visits. Sapphire ring, $4,200, pearl necklace, $12,800, several gold bracelets, $18,000 total. She had ID, signed tickets, said they were family heirlooms she was allowed to sell. Receipts matched the missing pieces exactly. Sophia shifted. Her attorney tried to redirect. She was under financial pressure. I'm bullying at school, needed nicer clothes to fit in. I sustained Rose's quiet objection. Counsel, motive doesn't create permission. Then came the cross-examination that changed everything. I looked at Sophia. Miss Martinez, you say your grandmother gave permission. When exactly did she say, you may take my jewelry to pawn? Sophia hesitated. Not those words. But she always let me borrow. I pulled up photos Rose had submitted, the empty jewelry box, insurance appraisal list, close-ups of the few remaining damaged pieces. These are the only 3 left, a brooch, earrings, a thin chain. Why didn't you pawn those too? Sophia whispered. They weren't worth enough. The courtroom inhaled. Rose closed her eyes briefly. I continued, voice calm but unrelenting. So you knew the value of each piece? You selected the most expensive ones first? Sophia nodded, tears starting. I looked up prices online. And when your grandmother confronted you with the pawn tickets, what did you say? Sophia's voice cracked. I said I'd get them back. Did you? Silence, then barely audible. No. I leaned forward. You posted photos on Instagram wearing the pearl necklace 2 weeks after pawning it. Caption, vintage vibes, feeling like a queen. You tagged luxury brands you bought with the money. Did you think your grandmother wouldn't see those posts? Sophia's shoulders began to shake. I didn't think she had Instagram. But she does, and she saw them. She printed them out. They're in evidence. I displayed the screenshots. Sophia in the necklace, smiling, new handbag visible in the background, a $900 designer one. Tears poured down Sophia's face now. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt her. I wanted to feel pretty. Everyone at school has nice things. I felt ugly. Rose spoke then, voice trembling but clear. You were never ugly to me, Sophia. You were my joy. Every time you walked in the door, I thought, there's my beautiful girl. You didn't need pearls to be pretty. You needed to ask. Sophia broke completely, sobs racking her body. She slid off the chair to her knees beside the table. Grandma, I'm so sorry. I hate myself. Please don't hate me. The courtroom was silent except for her crying. No one moved. Even her attorney looked stricken. Let me pause here, because this moment was raw. Have you ever seen someone you love destroy something precious and then realize too late what they've done? Drop a comment right now and tell me, could you forgive a grandchild for this? And if your heart is aching right now, hit that like button, because what happened next showed that sometimes justice has to be tough so love can have a chance to survive. I took a breath, wiped my own eyes. Miss Martinez, the law says civil theft requires intent to deprive permanently. Your actions, multiple trips to pawn shops, selling for cash, spending on non-essentials, show that intent. But this court also sees a young woman who is remorseful. I turned to Rose. Mrs. Delaney, what do you want today? Rose looked at Sophia, still on her knees, and spoke softly. I want my jewelry back. What's left? I want the pawn money returned if possible. But most of all, I want my granddaughter back, the one who used to sit on my lap and ask for stories. I ruled, judgment for plaintiff. Defendant is liable for conversion and civil theft. The remaining jewelry shall be returned immediately. Defendant shall pay restitution of $400 less the value of recovered items, plus treble damages under statute. Total $192,000, payable over time. However, I am suspending $120,000 of that judgment contingent on completion of 200 hours community service at the senior center where Mrs. Delaney volunteers. mandatory family counseling for 12 months, full-time job or vocational training after graduation, and monthly payments of $500 toward the balance until paid. If conditions are met for 3 years, the suspended amount is forgiven. I looked at Sophia. This isn't punishment to destroy you, it's structure to rebuild you. You stole more than jewelry, you stole your grandmother's trust. Earn it back? Sophia nodded through sobs. I will, Grandma, I swear. Rose stood, walked over with her walker, and pulled Sophia into a hug. The girl clung to her like she was 5 again. The gallery exhaled, soft crying, nods of approval. 9 months later, Rose wrote me, Sophia works weekends at the senior center now. She brings me coffee every shift. We talk about Harold, about the jewelry, about forgiveness. She's saving for college. The pieces that are gone hurt, but having her back hurts less. Stories like this stay with you forever. A teenager's theft can break a grandmother's heart, but brutal truth in court, followed by measured mercy, can sometimes rebuild what was stolen. If this moved you, if you believe accountability and love can coexist, hit that like button, subscribe for more courtroom truths that cut deep, and share this with anyone who's ever had to forgive a young person's mistake. Comment below, could you have shown mercy after such a betrayal? Thank you for listening. God bless. Justice isn't always about the maximum penalty. Sometimes it's about leaving room for redemption. Check the next video. Another family theft story with an even bigger twist is coming. Take care of your elders. Their treasures are more than gold. They're memories, and memories can't be pawned.